The other thing we could say at this juncture is that the Sufi tradition is not an intellectual or philosophical tradition per se, although there are many Muslim philosophers. It is entirely an experiential approach. So here we would start to find some common ground. And as we'll see, there's a lot more common ground. And so what I've done is I've tried to bring to you as few ontological references, philosophical references, and to bring you more of the practical teachings that, say, Rumi and Shahrastari, Hafez, and so forth, they're famous for actually helping the individual to have an awareness and an experience at the deepest level of their potential. And so the first one that I would like to present to you is again from Rumi. And Rumi is thinking about how he's going to broach the topic, broach the most important thing in the world from his point of view. How is he going to do it? So he's going to use effective parables, stories, analogies, etc. And in this one he says, consider that you, the human being, you are like the best kind of iron ore. You're the best iron ore in the ground. And iron ore varies a great deal. And I understand they found some very good iron ore recently at Hallaj, and somebody from outside is going to get it. Huh? I mean, there's places in the world where because iron is not all the same. It says, you, the human being, you are similar. You have a nature that could be compared to the best of iron ore. And with that statement, one is drawn to consider what is made out of iron. And when we think about all of the things that are made out of iron, and those of you who know all you need is a little carbon in the iron and you've got steel, we have much of our world around us is made of iron. Well, frankly, we live on an iron planet. The core of our planet is molten iron. So he's drawing our attention, though, to the material of iron, so that we would think for a moment about the countless things. And no matter what example we give, it can be turned into something that has a function. A pair of scissors, a knife, a hatchet, a cross. You see, so many things. And in every case, we see the thing that it's doing, and we see that it's iron. So it's in that context that he now introduces this first poem, which I'm only going to read you a section of. Though your figure is dark as iron, clean it, polish, don't stop until your inner awareness, your inner consciousness becomes a mirror for gazing on endless beauty. Though the iron was dark with no light, polishing scoured away that darkness. The iron's polishing brightened its face, which then revealed lovely images. The earthly form is dense and dark. Polish it, for it too will brighten and reveal. And so Rumi uses this image, and I happen to notice that my dear friend Faisal is sitting here in the audience, and Faisal and I were in Virginia some years ago with our beloved teacher, and we were sitting with a man who kept saying to us that, maybe to me, maybe not to Faisal, but he seemed to be sort of intent on saying, you should really read the Quran more. And I was saying, well, I'm trying, I'm reading the Quran. And I'm not sure if he was saying it the way I would, in just enjoy that you don't mind repeating something pleasant, or if he was thinking that maybe I needed to be better informed. But either way, he was saying this, and then he brought up, perhaps not surprisingly, the issue of Hallaj. Now, Hallaj, whose direct descendant is sitting in the front aisle here, was a great Sufi who was executed for saying, I am the true reality. The Sufis are often fond of, instead of using the word for God, they'll say the word Haqq, which means the true reality, because they wish to. This is one of the names of God, and you could translate it as God, but in fact it has a broader meaning. It means the true reality of everything. And this person said, I am the true reality. And so not surprisingly, people objected, and Al-Hallaj was executed. And not in a quick way, I should say. At any rate, Faisal is my witness. I said to this man, consider the human form, which is like iron, as Rumi says, and consider that whatever you make out of it, you will see its function, and you will see the iron. But there is a situation that if the iron is polished and turned to a mirror, at midday, you will not see the iron. At midday, the iron will say, I am the sun. This was am I right, Faisal John? This is what happened. And I can't say for sure the man was pleased, but I think he accepted the reply, and it gave him something to think about. This is Rumi's way of trying to introduce to us the idea that there may be yet a wonderful surprise, a delightful surprise waiting for us if we are this iron, and we have, let's say, an immense range of experience. But that experience may be along one line of dimension, and then something can happen with the iron that expands its capacity and understanding in a way that is really incommensurate with everything else that's happened, taking one into an entirely different dimension of experience. And then at that moment, the human being realizing that this is the great secret of the human reality. This is the secret from which the religions have sprung. And regarding the impersonal existentialist, we can already see that at this point, the iron has become less personal. It is less itself in order to become more, to become much more. And yet it is precisely itself. That is its purpose, its highest purpose. And it doesn't negate or reduce. In fact, it will end up enhancing all of the other uses of iron. It will energize, magnetize all of the other uses of iron, ultimately. Now, the second citation that I want to read to you in this line is, I was thinking about it, and you'll notice that I've just only translated it this morning, and I was thinking, now why have I never translated? This is one of the most famous passages in the Masnavi, and I thought, well, it's just so famous, everybody's translated it, there's no point in translating it. And then I looked at the translations thinking I would use one, and I wasn't happy. because there was just some little thing here and there with each translation. And, don't forget, the iron still has a hook, a stick, a cane, etc. You see, so certainly my iron was looking for something a little sharper. And so here's what I came up with. Because again, we're trying to understand the impersonal existentialist of the Sufi tradition. A person came knocking at the door of the one he loved. His love said from within, "Who are you, worthy one?" He said, "It's me." She said, "Then go away, it's not the time. This table of mine is not suited for what is uncooked. For the uncooked, there must be the yearning fire of separation, to roast him and deliver him from falseness." The poor fellow left for a year on a journey and was scorched by the flames of separation from the one he loved. That roasted lover returned thoroughly cooked. He circled around the house of his dear one. With great trepidation and caution, he reached for the knocker, his lips in check from uttering any errant word. He knocked, and his love asked, "Who is it?" "It is you, dear heart snatcher." "It is you, dear heart snatcher, at the door." She said, "Now that you are me, do come in. There just is no room for two eyes in this house. The splayed, double-stranded thread won't make the needle. Pass through the needle now that you're spun single. Proper thread should connect to the needle. The camel is not suited for the eye of the needle." Now, this is an interesting poem for a lot of reasons, and one of them that's probably dawned on you is there's a reference to the camel and the eye of the needle, which those of us raised in the Christian tradition are very familiar with. Now, Rumi, of course, was living in Konya, and he's writing this book many years after being around Christians. There is a verse in the Quran that is about the camel